All right, so we're diving into some pretty heavy stuff today, folks. We're talking about the fate of Earth, the end of a whole galaxy, and get this, a cosmic real estate search that's got our little blue planet on the short list.
It's a lot to unpack, that's for sure.
This Lords of the Seven Realms thing, it's massive. The scope is incredible.
You weren't kidding when you said you dug up a ton of material. YouTube videos, pages of notes, even like hints of a whole multimedia project in the works. Someone's been busy.
Definitely ambitious. And we're talking about some really big concepts here, like luminous beings of pure energy creating the universe. But then even galaxies, they have a lifespan, right? And the Zargodian galaxy, well, it's on its last legs, cosmically speaking.
It really makes you think about time and scale in a whole new way.
Right. And these Zargodians, these beings with unimaginable power, they knew this was coming. They've been searching for a plan B for who knows how long.
And that search led them to the Seven Realms and to Earth.
So out of, what, the entire universe, our little planet makes the cut for the galactic moving list. Talk about feeling simultaneously insignificant and incredibly lucky.
It's a strange mix of emotions for sure. Makes you wonder what they're looking for in a planet. What did they see in us?
Well, from what I gathered, the Lords had this high-stakes meeting on their mega starship, Mectopia. It's like, imagine the UN, but instead of diplomats, you've got beings who can bend galaxies to their will.
I can't even imagine the coffee break conversations on that ship.
Right? But seriously, they're debating the fate of Earth. Some of them, they want to just hit the cosmic reset button on humanity, wipe the slate clean, start over.
And others see potential. It's like a nature versus nurture debate on a galactic scale.
Exactly. And it's the Valhalla realm, the one in the worst shape, that decides, hey, let's send a scout ship to get a closer look at this Earth place.
Dragon's Fury.
Yeah, Dragon's Fury. But they weren't exactly met with open arms and a welcome basket, were they?
Not quite. Those reports they sent back, volcanoes, dying wildlife, the whole climate change situation, Earth wasn't exactly putting its best foot forward.
To put it mildly. But here's where it gets really interesting, where things start to get weird. The Zargodians haven't just been observing us from afar. They've been, well, influencing things for a long, long time.
Subtly, of course.
Okay, hold on. How? Are we talking alien intervention? Close encounters? Spaceships disguised as weather balloons?
Remember those news stories you sent? The one about that strange artifact they found in the Egyptian pyramids, and the other one uncovered by that melting glacier.
Yeah, those are wild.
Those are perfect examples of what we're talking about, Zargodian tech. They're called beacons, strategically placed all over the globe.
So they're like, what, intergalactic breadcrumbs? But what do they do? How have they shaped our history?
Each beacon is tied to a different realm, each embodying its own unique traits, you see. Some might have nudged humanity towards technological advancements or artistic flourishes. Others, well, they might be connected to periods of conflict or stagnation.
Hold on. Are you saying that some of the biggest leaps forward, and maybe even some of the darkest times in human history, could be because of these Zargodians and their beacons?
We're talking about a hidden layer of history here, one that could completely rewrite everything we thought we knew about ourselves.
Okay, that's a lot to process. But we're not just dealing with these incredibly advanced beings pulling strings from the shadows, are we? You've got some pretty interesting people right here on Earth who get caught up in all of this. Like, what about this Dr. Abara, an expert in extraterrestrial anthropology? That's one for the CV.
Now, there's a niche profession if I ever heard one.
Right. But it gets even wilder. Since she was a kid, she's been mentored by the Zargodian princess, who also happens to be, wait for it, a Dino Sapien.
Now, that's a story for another time.
You're killing me? Dino Sapien. What does that even look like? Scales, feathers, laser vision? Give me the details.
The details are a bit thin, even in what you sent me, to be honest. But the term itself, Dino Sapien, suggests a being that combines reptilian and humanoid characteristics. Pretty wild, right?
Absolutely, and the fact that she's a princess tells you something about Zargodian society, too. They've got royalty. Lineage and heritage still matter, even in a civilization as advanced as theirs. Okay, so we've got this brilliant scientist, mentored by an alien princess who's also part dinosaur. This is already incredible. But there's more, right? You mentioned this guy, Brandon, and Professor Hansen with his top-secret lab. Don't tell me we've got a love triangle brewing with an extraterrestrial twist. I knew it. So spill the tea. What's the deal with these three?
You've got Brandon, who's close to Dr. Abara, but he's trying to figure out his feelings for her while also navigating his own ambitions. Human drama playing out on a cosmic stage.
And Professor Hansen.
He's a leading figure at Sector 8.
Sector 8, that's the Zargodians' secret base here on Earth, right?
The very same. Think Area 51, but instead of crashed UFOs, they're working with technology so advanced it would make our smartphones look like Stone Age tools.
Okay, whoa. So this Sector 8, this is where they've been operating from this whole time? Are we talking flying cars, teleportation devices, maybe a universal translator for those intergalactic conference calls?
While the material you provided doesn't get into specifics.
Come on, give me something.
It's safe to say we're talking about technology that's light years ahead of anything we can even imagine. And, remember that scout ship, Dragon's Fury? They didn't stay hidden forever. They made a pretty dramatic entrance, landing right in front of the White House.
Wait, seriously?
King Odenfrig, Queen Freydis, General Dragonian, the whole royal entourage. Talk about a global spectacle.
I bet the internet went absolutely nuts. Can you imagine seeing an actual spaceship right there on the White House lawn?
It was a defining moment for humanity, and it set the stage for what became known as the World Summit.
Okay, so everyone on Earth is freaking out. You've got alien royalty on the White House lawn. The stakes just got real. What happens next? So the world is holding its breath. Alien spaceship parked at the White House. Talk about a tense situation. What happens next?
Well, you know the military, right? They're not exactly known for their patience. Here comes Dragon's Fury with tech that's, centuries, millennia ahead of anything we can even comprehend, and it's carrying the leaders of a dying galaxy. Talk about a wake-up call.
Talk about an existential crisis.
Right, and right in the middle of it all is Dr. Abara, our resident expert on all things Dinosapien.
And she kind of becomes the go-between, right, between us and them.
Exactly. She understands their culture, their values, probably better than anyone else on Earth. After all, she's been mentored by the Zargodian princess since childhood, and she argues for diplomacy. A chance to prove that humanity is worth saving.
Pretty gutsy move, considering some folks probably wanted to just nuke the spaceship and ask questions later.
It was a tense moment, to say the least. But surprisingly, maybe because they didn't have much choice, the world leaders agreed to a cultural exchange.
Okay, so what does that even look like? Alien diplomats sipping tea at the UN?
Not quite. Queen Freydis and General Dragonians stay on Earth as guests. Or maybe observers is a better word. And a delegation from Earth, led by Dr. Ho-Si Wang, another scientist on Dr. Abara's team, heads back to the Zargodian galaxy with them.
Talk about a high-stakes field trip. But we can't forget about those shadowy figures, the Boys Club, the Crimson Circle. What are they up to while all this is going down?
Yes, the Boys Club. They're not too keen on this whole diplomacy thing. They see the Zargodians as a threat. Plain and simple.
And they're not exactly the type to just sit back and watch, are they?
Not at all. They cook up a plan to take out King Odenfrig. They figure if they can eliminate the head, the whole Zargodian delegation will crumble.
And they actually managed to get their hands on some of that advanced alien tech. How's that even possible?
Don't underestimate desperation. Or human ingenuity, I guess. And they're pretty resourceful, these Boys Club types. They launch an attack on Dragon's Fury, convinced they pulled it off.
I could just imagine them celebrating their victory.
But here's the thing. The Zargodians, they knew it was coming.
Wait, seriously?
They allowed it to happen. Or rather, they allowed the illusion of it to happen.
Hold on, are you saying they faked the whole thing?
Dragon's Fury, with all its precious cargo, was never in any real danger. The Zargodians had safeguards. They were playing 4D chess while the Boys Club was playing checkers.
Okay, that's just cold. But what happens next? Do the Zargodians unleash their wrath on Earth, vaporize the Boys Club headquarters?
Word gets back to Mactopia, to the Galactic Council. And let's just say opinions are divided. Some want immediate retaliation, a clean slate, wipe out humanity and be done with it.
Can you blame them?
But others, including the Zargodian princess, still believe there's hope for humanity. She sticks her neck out for us, even after this betrayal.
She's a true friend. But what about King Odenfrig? He doesn't strike me as the forgiving type. What's his verdict? So we've got King Odenfrig, ruler of the Valhalla realm, and he is not happy about being the target of an assassination attempt, even a fake one. What happens to the Boys Club?
Well, it's a good reminder that even though the Zargodians have these godlike powers, they're not just, forces of nature. They've got laws, a sense of justice. Even if it's on a scale we can barely wrap our heads around.
So no snapping their fingers and zapping the Boys Club into oblivion. No death rays or anything.
Not quite. Remember that line you pointed out? In the Seven Realms, betrayal is a one-way ticket.
Yeah, it sounds ominous.
It's not just a saying, it's a fundamental truth of their society. And Odenfrig, well, he's bound by those laws. He has a decision to make, but his options are limited.
Okay, so no dramatic trial, no space prison. What does Zargodian punishment look like?
Think of it more like banishment, exile, to the farthest reaches of the cosmos, stripped of everything, their power, their wealth, everything, cast adrift, left to think about what they've done.
Wow. Alone in a broken-down spaceship with nothing but time and regrets. That's a chilling thought.
It really drives home the point that even in their mercy, the Zargodians are a force you don't want to mess with. But here's the thing about the Boys Club. They're survivors, right? I mean, they weaponized alien tech, managed to operate right under the noses of multiple governments. Who's to say they won't find some way to turn even exile to their advantage?
Okay, now that is a scary thought. So while they're out there plotting their revenge, we're left with a whole galaxy to explore. 7 realms, each more mysterious than the last. We've got Emperor Renzang with his armor that can forge stars, and Princess Ural Kaimari, the Waker of Storms. It's like something out of a movie.
And that's the beauty of this whole Lords of the Seven Realms thing, you know? This isn't just one alien species we're talking about. It's a complex web of civilizations, each with their own history, their own reasons for being there, and potentially their own plans for Earth.
Right. And let's not forget, their galaxy is dying. That's going to be a pretty big motivator to find a new home, even if it means displacing someone else. Makes you wonder if those cosmic real estate brochures for Earth are really on the up and up.
Exactly. Are the Zargodians benevolent beings here to guide humanity to a brighter future, or desperate refugees willing to do whatever it takes to survive, even if it means sacrificing us?
It's a question for the ages, isn't it? We've gone from a pile of notes and videos to the edge of the universe and back today, uncovering a story that's both awe-inspiring and, let's face it, a little terrifying. It really makes you think about our place in the cosmos.
It really does, and maybe that's the biggest takeaway from all of this. We are but one small planet in a vast and mysterious universe. And while we may dream of encountering otherworldly beings and exploring distant galaxies, we must also remember the words of the great Carl Sagan. The universe is not required to be in perfect harmony with human ambition.
And on that note, we'll leave you to ponder the mysteries of the 7 realms and humanity's place among them. Until next time, keep looking up, but maybe, just maybe, keep one eye on the shadows too.